Hi guys. Hello, hello, hello. Today I figured I would do a little bit of story time, some light workers life talk, right? Just get you kind of introduced to some of my experience and where I've been and who I am, where I come from. I used to do a lot of traveling when I was younger. I started hitchhiking when I was like 19 years old. And I ran into the Rainbow Gathering. I started going to rainbow gatherings in July of 2000, the Montana National Rainbow Gathering. There's a lot of you, I'm sure, that have no idea what I'm talking about, but a rainbow gathering is one of the world's largest non-member, organizations that there is. There is no leader. You cannot spend money. Everything that you need is provided for you. And if you have a belly button, or even those that don't have belly buttons, are always welcome. They call it welcome home, right? Well, I started going to rainbow gatherings in July of 2000, and it changed my life forever. Like, I was like, wow, I can't believe that there is a group of people out here that actually live like this. I mean, it doesn't just happen in America, it happens all over the world. Um, we're actually considered a domestic terrorist group for whatever reason because we have no leader, even though they arrest somebody every year as leader, but that's besides the point. Um, where I got the name Nacho Mama, I used to travel with a kitchen because rainbow gatherings are constructed of a bunch of tribes all put together that have their own kitchens. They go into the woods in the national forest to gather. Sometimes it's a regional, sometimes it's a national. Regionals happen all year round, um, in different parts of the states, right? And the nationals is the like the big celebration, the big family gathering, and it always happens on July 4th. And you can go online and you can look it up and do your own research or whatever. But I used to travel with a kitchen called Oz. And Oz Kitchen, when they're off time, they had a coffee house. Like, we would just make coffee in the woods all day, and it was called Nacho Mama. And that's where Nacho Mama comes from. For any of you guys that are curious, it came from my traveling days of traveling with Oz Kitchen. Um, Rainbow Gathering also taught me, it was like a stomping grounds of learning to be a light worker. You know, because it's all colors, all creeds, all nationalities, all religions, all joined together to form a rainbow. And we are known as the Warriors of the Light. That was before I ever even knew what a star seed was. That was before any of it ever made any sort of sense whatsoever. Like, I always had this deep understanding that it was some sort of training, but I wasn't sure for what. And of course, you go into the apocalyptic ideas and, living off grid, like they tap natural spring water, and um, it's all done by consensus. Everybody gets together and passes a feather. And if you want to be, you can be as involved or not as involved as you want to be, right? And it's all done off of a barter system. You can't spend money. Food is free. Everything that you need is provided for you. Like, I've had the most amazing spiritual experiences at Rainbow. And I've also seen some freaking vile, disgusting humans as well at Rainbow. I mean, because it's open to every type of person that there is on the planet. A lot of the homeless community starts traveling with the Rainbow because at Rainbow Gathering, you become a celebrity by, like the people that are doctors and lawyers or whatever. When they come in to do their weekend warrior gatherings, they're being fed by the dirty homeless kids and treating them like they're no different. So it really, I've never hugged so many strangers in my life. Like, they call it welcome home. And I've done this for 21 years now. I've been part of the Rainbow Tribe and a light worker. But that's where Nacho Mama comes from. Nacho Mama was actually a coffee house based out of Rainbow, right? Back in the day, I used to hitchhike and hop trains, and I went from one side of the country to the other side of the country, meeting all kinds of interesting individuals. I've had so many different perspectives and different scenarios, and different, like, I call it a perspective thesaurus. Like, I'm always trying to enter stuff into my perspective thesaurus. um, I met people that were the most giving, um, trusting, nurturing, amazing people. I mean, there's no way that I made it across the country if it wasn't for kind individuals, you know? Like, you have to be a kind individual to pick up somebody on the side of the road and offer them a ride. You have to be a giving individual to give somebody $100 bill out of your pocket of your hard-earned money, you know, to just hand somebody $100 that you will never meet again, you know, that you have no idea what they're going to be doing with it. It doesn't matter, you know? And then you also have some very crazy individuals, you know, all in the same sphere of this world, right? We're all in the same world, so it's all in the same sphere. Sometimes it would take me a couple of days, you know, if I got caught a ride with a trucker, it could take me a couple of days to get from one side of the country to the other. Other times it would take me months, like 6 months to go 3 states, because you just keep running into somebody cool, and then you stay in this town for a little bit and you hang out with these people and you get this experience, and then you hitchhike on to somewhere else and you meet somebody else that's cool, or you start doing work for somebody, or um, anyways, the first time I ever hopped a train, I'm pretty sure it was with a serial killer. I had just hopped out of the Ogden Yard, which is one of the biggest yards in America for trains, is the Ogden Yard outside of Utah. And I was with my child's father before I was pregnant, but we had met this guy at the Ogden Yard that knew more about what he was doing than either me or my baby daddy at the time. You know, he wasn't my baby daddy yet, but uh, I got pregnant shortly after that. But anyways, he knew more about hopping trains than we did. So we hooked up with this older gentleman that could kind of show us the ropes, you know, and we hopped on this train, a grainer. A grainer is those big white ones that you see on the trains that are like all kinds of different train cars put together. And you could tell which ones have a floor on the inside or which ones don't by if there's lines, if the seams of the grainer are visible or not. But that's neither here nor there either. But we hopped on this train with this guy, and he was on like this car on this side, and we were on this car on this side. You know how they face each other? And there's like a little hole on the inside of these graders that you could stuff your backpacks in or hide in if you need to. And then there's like a floor, you know, and we were on this side and he was on this side. And I woke up, we went to sleep and woke up to the conductor. The conductor had stopped the train and he was like, "Hey, do you guys have everybody?" You know, and we're like, "Yeah, you know, like 1, 2, 3, there's our backpacks, like everything's all good, you know." He was like, "Well, that's weird because we've been dragging something underneath the train for like the last mile and a half, right?" And I thought it was odd because the guy was making coffee. It was like still dark outside. It was so early in the morning when the conductor stopped and was talking to us. I'm surprised he let us keep riding, but I remember this guy was making coffee out of like a little percolator, you know, which I thought was odd for a train hopper to be making coffee in the morning like that. And he kept asking me, like, we stopped in Reno, and he was like, "Why are you here? Why are you out here? You don't need to be out here. You need to go home to your mom. You know, let me take care of this. Let me take care of him." You know, he was talking about my son's dad at the time. You know, "Let me take care of him. You need to go home to your mom. Like, what are you doing out here?" You know, and I'm like, "Ah, whatever. You know, I'm just drinking 40s, having a good time." Like, um, didn't really think much of it, you know, and later on down the line, when I came back home after I found out I was pregnant and I hopped the train back home and went to my mom's house and shit, um, it had been on the news that they had caught this serial killer, that his name was JR or Junior. And the guy that he had dirty blonde, sandy hair, and all the people that they interviewed about him, they said that he was only killing assholes from FTRA, the Freight Train Riders of America, which those guys can be serious fuckwads, excuse my language, but you hop on the wrong train with some FTRA and they'll throw you under the train. They'll do some fucked up shit if you're not part of their like gang. You know what I mean? And supposedly this guy was only killing FTRA. And he had dirty blonde hair, and they said his name was Junior. And the guy that we hopped the train with, he called himself JR, and he had dirty blonde hair. And one of the things that the people that were interviewed about this serial killer were saying that he was one of the nicest guys. This was the nicest guy. He's super, super nice, but he always made coffee on the train, you know? And I was like, what the fuck? And he kept trying to get me to go home so he could take care of my boyfriend at the time, you know? Oh, you need to go home, sweetheart. What are you doing out here? You know, you need to go home. Like, let me take care of him. I'm like, nah, I'm good, you know. I'm just chilling. I was like 19, almost 20 at the time. And I didn't find out till later that more than likely the first time I ever hopped a train was with a serial killer. I've had so many experiences in my life that there's got to be a higher reason. Like there's got to be some sort of bigger plan. Like the fact that I've made it this far, the fact that I'm still like still full of life and love and um acceptance and understanding to this point, like there has to be a bigger mission. And I've always kind of felt that way. I didn't really know what it was, you know? And then to find out about being a star seed, like that just resonated so much with me. Like so much from all the training that I had already been through, like at Rainbow. You know, rainbows, they call them warriors of the light. And I had no idea what that meant. I had no idea what a star seed was, but a star seed is a warrior of the light, you know? I was on Sally Jesse Raphael when I was like 10 years old because they said that my mom called them and told them that I looked older than I was. And they flew us first class from Grand Junction, Colorado to New York City. And I stayed in Times Square in the central part of New York City. They picked us up in this limo. And I remember when we drove through Queens, there was people on the median, you know, spanging for change or whatever. And our limo driver rolled up the window and shit. You know, I always thought it was strange. And at that time, I was still so innocent minded. Like the only thing, I was in the middle of New York, man, New York City. And the only thing that I did was for fun, that was count taxis underneath my window. I counted like 220 something taxis in like 2 minutes. Everything was covered in everything was gold plated. It was like $50 for our breakfast, just eggs and toast and shit was like $50, man. And everybody walked really, really fast. I remember everybody walking really fast. My mom kept telling me that it was so we don't get graffitied on or don't get art on because there's like graffiti everywhere, you know? Just one of the, just wait, two of the stories that I have in my experience from then until now. Like I've definitely have got some life under me. You know, I've definitely seen a lot. I've definitely have experienced a lot, and I'm definitely willing to share my experience and hope that somebody out there, you know, that it helps somebody, that my experiences, the things that I've been through, like might help somebody not go through some of the same things that I went through, or might inspire somebody to go do some of the things that I have done. You know what I mean? I just thought I would share a little tidbit with you guys. Love you. Vroom beep beep.